Good morning, everyone. Grant, if you lead us in prayer, please.
And probably going to take a moment to pause and thank for all we have on a daily basis. We want to ask your blessings, as always, with our board and our employees and the public that we serve, that we can continue to do the job and make the best decisions for those that we're to serve. We pray always that we can humbly bow before you and ask forgiveness of sins and shortcomings, and you should continue to lead us and guide us as we hopefully approach better weather and can protect those around us. Pray always that you'll continue to bless us as we leave here and keep us safe. In Christ's name.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lance, would you do the roll call, please?
I will. Commissioner Pitts?
Yes.
Commissioner Harville?
Here.
Commissioner Foster?
Here.
Commissioner Miller?
Here.
Commissioner Gould?
Having a quorum, I'll call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda, approval of minutes from our regular meeting held January 22nd. Everybody had a chance to look at those. Any corrections or additions?
I move we approve.
Yep.
Commissioner Pitts?
Yes.
Commissioner Harville?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Gould?
Public comments.
Max, I would probably, and I'm going to let Angie jump in on this conversation. We're just going to open it with you. We'll be bringing some information to the board as early as next week regarding the contract for some changes that are going to be happening within our department. And this will include how we're going to handle billings moving forward. So we're just hoping to be able to get with the board and have some language for them to read. But I feel like Andy will probably be submitting some changes that were made after a meeting yesterday to Tyler for him to review. And then we'll talk to you guys about what we're going to be moving forward in the next few months. But we're kind of on a timeline on part of this. And so we're going to hope that maybe next week we can be on the agenda and talk about this a little bit more.
Yeah,
Ultimately in discussion for the whole board.
We'll go ahead and put it on the agenda when we do that Monday, and if we're not ready to go, we'll just table it till we are. Sounds good. Thank you, sir. Committee reports.
Well, there's not a lot to report. Most of the meetings have been postponed, canceled. I do know that the Shawnee Development has been waiting for confirmation of my appointment to the representative down there. And I did get something in the mail this week. I did get mail one day this week, and I haven't got around to opening it yet, so I don't know what's in it yet. So it's just, there's not a lot on that front right now.
Anybody else?
I have to take a comment. I don't think they saw on Channel 3, typically was on there. They had, with the snow and all, damaged their truck significantly. It wasn't that the driver wasn't hurt. So they're looking, we'll probably be discussing it later to the vehicle to replace the one. And this may not be the right place, but I am going to compliment the staff for, I was shocked at how well our sidewalks and parking lots and all were cleaned after this.
Yeah, I'm glad nobody's hurt too.
I will add, I've got, and I know some of the rest of you have too, and I told Jeff this a couple days ago, but I got a lot of compliments on how we've taken care of the roads through all this, which was good to hear. I don't know that he's doing anything different, but been a lot of compliments, and I told him, he said they just been really working hard, so I just want to throw that out there. But we appreciate everything the highway department's been doing through all this, so hopefully it'll be the last time this year. Building permits.
I
have some, I'm sorry. You want
And Max, I think all the roads that we have in the county, while she's getting that paper, they did an excellent job.
Oh, they have.
They've got many, many, many miles to cover. I know they have some, but they're doing the best they can.
Morning, Counselor. Everybody had a chance to look at building permits, any questions?
Mr. Pitts? Yes. Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to old business. We've got several items on the agenda today, but it shouldn't take long to go through them. They're all pretty standard stuff. Appointment to Shawnee Development Council Board. Commissioner Gould has agreed to be appointed to this board. Resolution appointing a member to the Shawnee Council. Whereas Board of Commissioners in Union County are appointing David Gould to represent us. I make a motion. So be.
Second.
Mr. Pitts?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Next item, appointment to Southern Illinois Development Authority. This is the SIDA board, which they have been after us to put somebody on here. Are we ready to do that?
Yes, Commissioner Gould is agreed, and the term would expire on the third Monday of January of 2027.
All right. I make a motion that we appoint Commissioner David Gould to Southern Illinois Economic Development Authority, the SIDA board, as our commissioner representative there.
Second.
Commissioner Pitts?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Next item under old business, we're back in, Angie's pretty well finished up all these policy deals that we had to put in writing. Do you want to say anything about those, Angie, before we vote on individually?
I mean, I can just quickly give you a brief update on them. The first one that you have on here is the accounts receivable policy. Obviously, you guys have all read it, but basically this policy is saying that each office that has receivables will take every measure that they can to collect those receivables. So that's that one. The second one is the backup and offsite storage policy. It is information about our IT and how often we want backups done and where that information should be stored and retention. So that's all about IT. The next one is the chart of accounts and general ledger policy. It basically just says that we use a cloud-based program called Intact, and that the chart of accounts are listed there, depending on what the number starts by, whether it's an asset, liability, revenue, expense, and that the treasurer is ultimately responsible for the chart of accounts. Then we have the cash receipts policy. It just talks about if you collect cash, what exactly you have to do, that it has to be locked up, that it has to be taken to the bank in a timely manner. So that's what this one is. The contract lease authority tells you who can sign contracts and leases. and when they can sign them. That's what that one's about. Payroll and payroll taxes just goes through the policy for our payroll system. And as far as turning in payroll, keeping accurate records, giving it to HR so she can process it, and then that we use Paychex to process our payroll system. That's all of them.
Congratulations. Anybody have any questions for Angie on any of these policies before we go through and individually vote on each one?
All I know is I kind of compliment you on all the ones. I don't know how many we approved of the last one, but this, you're over a dozen probably.
We had 20 policies to write, so yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, first one, accounting or accounts receivable policy.
I mean,
I'll second.
Mr. Pitts?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
yes.
Next, item D, accounting system backup and off-site storage policy. I'll move.
Second.
Mr. Pitts?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Item F, or E, terminal ledgers to be maintained policy.
Make a motion. Second.
Mr. Pitts?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Now, yeah, cash receipts policy. I'll move.
Second.
Mr. Pitts?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Item G, contract lease authorities policy. I'll move.
Second.
Mr. Pitts?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
H, payroll taxes policy.
Make a motion.
Ready?
Mr. Pitts?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
And just a side note on all this, I mean, all these policies, we just didn't just now come up with them, they've been in place, but we had to put them in writing, so it's not changing anything that we've been doing or making new policies, so. New business, approved payment of bills, everybody had a chance to look at the bill list? Yes. I make a motion to pay our bills.
Second.
Mr. Pitts?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Item B, Union County Chamber of Commerce contribution dash economic development. Got a letter from Stephanie Cox, asking for our, annual $5,000 donation that we do. Anybody have any questions about this or discussion on it? And I feel like this is something that we definitely need to continue to do.
That was budgeted for, correct?
Yes. Make motion.
Second.
Mr. Pitts?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Next item is Union County Senior Citizen Contribution. Again, this is in the budget. We just regularly do this when they ask for some more money to put in their accounts. What are they asking for this time, usual or?
Yeah, I believe the usual amount we give them is, I want to say like $3,000.
Yeah.
I will say though, because our meeting's been pushed back and I missed the request for a week. I didn't see her email because it was with the bank statement. So I mean, the money is budgeted for the rest of the year. So if the 3,000 I'm sure will do, but if you do that, it's probably going to be, a couple months and you're going to be doing it again. So I don't know if you want to do more or not. That's up to you.
I think this is, I make a motion to do contribution of 3,000 out of the budget, not contribution, it's to the senior citizens. Second.
Commissioner Pitts?
Yes.
Commissioner Harville?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Gould?
Yes.
Next item on the agenda, Union County CEO Program Pledge. We have a formal request. We have been given them 1,000, is that correct?
Yes, and this pledge is committing to 1,000 for the next 3 years. We had one 3 years ago. It expired last year, so they're asking us to re-pledge 1,000 for the next 3 years.
Any questions on this? Everybody aware of what that program is? I've got a grandson in it, I'll have to say, and I'm extremely pleased with the program. It's definitely made a difference in him, I know that. And, I think it's a great asset that we have from the high school. I get a motion to do the 3-year $1,000 contribution.
I'll move.
Second.
Does that officially have to come up every year for the contribution, or can we just always have, go ahead and do it?
I mean, the way I'm reading this, we're good for 3 years now, so we won't have to, it'll just be automatically in the budget. You know, I've had kids in that program too, it's outstanding. It's outstanding.
Commissioner Pitts?
Yes.
Commissioner Harville?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Gould?
Yes.
Next item, Union Alexander ETSB appointment. This is basically, not basically, it is the 9/11 board. Bobby was the commissioner on that board prior. Dale Foster has agreed to serve on that board as the commissioner. I make a motion that we appoint Dale Foster, county commissioner, to the Union Alexander ETSB board.
I'll second.
Um,
Will Bobby stay on?
No, he was on there as commissioner, so.
Commissioner Pitts?
Yes.
Commissioner Harville?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster? Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Gould?
Yes.
And I'll add that term, this term expires November 30th, 2024. Brooke Miller, ROL loan refinance.
Do you want me to discuss it? Okay. So if you guys remember, I sent you an email back in January with regards to one of our RLF loans for Brooke Miller. And the bank was asking us to take a third instead of the second we had on the property. It's right now her balance on her loan is $51,000. It's like 51,1 something. Her current loan payment is $900 a month, and it would be up on 12/1 of 2026. So basically 6 more years on her payment. The bank, Brooke and the bank have said that they will give $10,000 towards paying this off. That would take her balance down to $41,000 if we will sign to become the third instead of the second, and redo her loan back out to 10 years. So her payment would drop down from $900 down to $436, but it will add 4 more years onto her loan because she's 4 years into it right now. So basically, before I asked our state's attorney's office to prepare the document, because he would have to prepare the document to redo her loan, I just want to make sure that this is something that you guys would like to do or are not interested in doing. So you'd get $10,000, but it adds 4 years to her loan. That's the summary.
I'm sorry to jump in, but they agreed to do an automatic payment as well. I know we were talking about that initially as another, condition we were kind of trying to go for.
No, because the payment would have to come from Brooke, not the bank, to us.
Well,
And just, I'm sure everybody knows this here, the original loan, the same loan we're talking about, is the old feed store in Cotton.
Yes.
You don't know what we're talking about. I have second thoughts about taking the third, but if she goes south on this thing, whichever place we're in, we're screwed. So, I feel like getting the $10,000 paid toward it is a plus. I hate that she's extending her time out on the loan or asking to, but that's, you know, like I said, if she defaults, it doesn't matter, we're busted, so not much we can do about it. So I don't, personally don't have a problem doing this. I mean, I think Brooks' business there has been doing great. Obviously, COVID.
From my side of it, looking at it, when I was looking through it, I talked to things and this and that. And I don't think there's any real concern if she's going to default, so we don't need to.
No.
I don't want that cloud hanging over.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
I just didn't want that conversation.
If something happened though, it is what it is, so. No, I don't think she will either, and hoping like else she doesn't for herself.
But then again, though, like refinancing this and getting her payment down, that would,
It's really not refinancing, all it's gonna be due to Tyler, it's just do a loan modification, that's all we're gonna be doing, so.
But it will get her payment down from
right,
900 to
that's what I'm saying,
436.
maybe it'll help increase her chances of making it. I think it'd be a good idea.
I think one
So
of our
far
big problems
into
is
it.
time with this.
I'll make a
payment.
comment, Brooke, I've dealt with Brooke for years, she's a wonderful individual, this is just, I think, a win-win for everybody. Helps with cash flow situation, particularly during COVID. And the county gets a little more money, and a lot of what we talked to right up front.
Yeah, we need to make a motion to
To approve the,
approve this, and Angie send the paperwork to Tyler to.
Dave, did you make the motion? Commissioner Pitts?
Yes.
Commissioner Harville?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
That's everything on the agenda. We do need to go into executive session to discuss pending litigation and collective negotiating matters.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Commissioner Pitts?
Yes.
Commissioner Harville?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster? Yes. Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Take a 2 or 3 minute break.